Have you ever heard of a leader who fought for peace with the heart of a warrior? A leader whose words still echo with the power of justice and dignity over a century later. Today, we're diving into the incredible life of Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce, a story of courage, heartbreak, and an unyielding fight for his people's home. His real name was Himatuialaktit, which means thunder rolling down the mountain. A powerful name for a man who would become one of the most respected and articulate leaders in American history. Born in 1840 in the beautiful Wallowa Valley of what is now northeastern Oregon, his early life was peaceful. The Wallowa Valley wasn't just land to the Nez Perce. It was their sacred home, a place of spiritual connection woven into the fabric of their identity. Chief Joseph's father, also named Joseph, had been one of the first Nez Perce leaders to welcome outsiders, even signing a treaty in 1855 that secured their ancestral lands. But as is often the case in history, promises made on paper didn't hold. The discovery of gold brought a flood of settlers, and the U.S. government came back with a new treaty in 1863, one that would shrink the Nez Perce reservation by nearly 90%, taking away the Wallowa Valley. Chief Joseph's father refused to sign. He told his son, "This country holds your father's body. Never sell the bones of your father and your mother." When his father passed away in 1871, that sacred promise fell to the younger Joseph. He became the leader of his people, not as a war chief, but as a civil leader, a guardian of their way of life. For years, he skillfully negotiated, trying to find a peaceful path forward. He believed in the power of words and reason. But by 1877, the pressure became unbearable. The U.S. Army under General Oliver O. Howard issued an ultimatum: move your people to the smaller reservation in Idaho within 30 days, or be moved by force. It was an impossible demand. The rivers were swollen with spring runoff, making the journey dangerous for the women, children, and elderly. Chief Joseph knew resistance was futile against the might of the U.S. Army, and with a heavy heart, he agreed to comply to avoid bloodshed. However, fate had other plans. Before the move could be completed, a small group of young Nez Perce warriors, enraged by years of injustice and the loss of their homes, retaliated against nearby white settlers. The die was cast. The path to peace was closed, and the Nez Perce War of 1877 began. What followed was not a simple chase, but one of the most brilliant military retreats in history. Chief Joseph, alongside other great Nez Perce leaders like Looking Glass and Whitebird, led around 750 men, women, and children on an epic journey of over 1,170 miles. They weren't just fleeing. They were fighting for their survival, hoping to find refuge with the Crow tribe in Montana, or, failing that, with Sitting Bull in Canada. For nearly 4 months, they outmaneuvered and outfought a U.S. Army that outnumbered them sometimes 10 to 1. The Nez Perce were incredible strategists and horsemen. They crossed treacherous mountain ranges, including the Rocky Mountains and the Bitterroot Mountains, fighting more than a dozen battles along the way. At the Battle of the Big Hole, they suffered a devastating surprise attack, losing many women and children, but they rallied and continued their desperate flight. Their journey was a testament to their resilience. They showed incredible discipline and humanity, often paying for supplies from settlers and treating prisoners with respect, a fact even noted by the soldiers pursuing them. Chief Joseph's primary role was to protect the non-combatants, ensuring the families were safe while the warriors held back the army. He was the anchor, the moral compass keeping his people together. But winter was coming and they were exhausted. They were just 40 miles from the Canadian border, so close to freedom at the Bear Paw Mountains in Montana. They thought they had outrun their pursuers, but a new army force under Colonel Nelson Miles intercepted them. A brutal 5-day siege began in the freezing cold. The suffering was immense. Their food was gone, their blankets were thin, and many were wounded or freezing. Looking Glass was killed, the other war chiefs were gone. The hope of reaching Canada vanished. It was then that Chief Joseph faced his most difficult decision. Seeing his people starving and freezing, with children dying, he knew the fight was over. He had to save who was left. On October 5, 1877, Chief Joseph rode out to surrender. His words, recorded by an army aide, have become immortal. He said, "Tell General Howard I know his heart." What he told me before, I have it in my heart. I am tired of fighting. Our chiefs are killed, the old men are all dead. It is the young men who say yes or no. He who led the young men is dead. It is cold, and we have no blankets. The little children are freezing to death. My people, some of them, have run away to the hills and have no blankets, no food. No one knows where they are, perhaps freezing to death. I want to have time to look for my children and see how many of them I can find. Maybe I shall find them among the dead. And then the famous final lines. Hear me, my chiefs, I am tired. My heart is sick and sad. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more forever. This wasn't a surrender of spirit, but an act of profound love and responsibility for his people. But the government's promises were broken yet again. Instead of being allowed to return to their lands in Idaho as they were told, Chief Joseph and his followers were sent to a malarial reservation in what is now Oklahoma. The conditions were terrible. Many, especially the children, died from disease and heartbreak. It was a tragic end to their epic journey. But Chief Joseph never stopped fighting. His battlefield just changed from the mountains of the west to the halls of power in the east. He became a powerful advocate for his people, a diplomat who traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet with presidents and policymakers. He used his voice, his intelligence, and his profound dignity to plead for justice. In an 1879 speech, he powerfully stated, "Let me be a free man, free to travel, free to stop, free to work, free to trade where I choose, free to choose my own teachers, free to follow the religion of my fathers, free to think and talk and act for myself, and I will obey every law or submit to the penalty." His words captured the fundamental human desire for freedom and equality. He wasn't just asking for land. He was demanding that his people be treated as human beings. For the rest of his life, he campaigned tirelessly to be allowed to return to his beloved Wallowa Valley. While some Nez Perce were eventually allowed to move back to the northwest, Chief Joseph never was. The government deemed him too powerful, too influential, a symbol of resistance they couldn't allow back on his ancestral land. Chief Joseph passed away in 1904 on the Colville Reservation in Washington. The doctor who attended him listed the cause of death as a broken heart. He died in exile, never again seeing the valley where his father was buried. So why does Chief Joseph's story still resonate so deeply with us today? It's because it's more than just a story of battles and retreat. It's a story about integrity, about holding on to your principles in the face of overwhelming force. It's about a leader who valued peace above all but fought fiercely when his people's existence was threatened. His life is a powerful reminder of the human cost of conflict and the enduring importance of justice, dignity, and a place to call home. His journey teaches us that true strength isn't always about winning the fight, but about how you fight and what you're fighting for. Chief Joseph fought for his people's future, for their memory, and for their right to exist. And through his words and his actions, his legacy continues to inspire us to listen, to understand, and to fight for justice in our own time. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of the incredible Chief Joseph. If you found this story as moving and important as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more stories from history that deserve to be told. Let me know in the comments what you think is the most powerful part of his legacy. Until next time, take care.